What's up guys, Brad back on the channel. Today's video I'm going to be reviewing our 1920 season. So in today's video it's going to be a bit of a long one, but I'm going to cover a timeline of events that took place over the season, what was good, bad, okay about them, and when certain things happened and what effect it had on the club. And the season as a whole. So yeah, you're gonna have to bear with me. It's gonna be a bit of a long video, but if that's something you enjoy, then you should be able to watch all of it and understand what I'm saying. And for those who do watch all of it, I'm very grateful, and I'd also be very grateful if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But anyways, let's crack on. So I've said this in a couple of videos now, but our season, as in this season, it goes back years. The problems go back years, and specifically it goes back to not this beginning of this season, last season, where we poorly invested as money on players, with poor attitudes and just poor attributes that just weren't what we as a club needed. The recruitment was just so poor. It was just not the standard of a Premier League club. And that, along with a lot of poor refereeing decisions, ultimately sent us down. And as you can understand, our confidence was at an all-time low. Confidence was low. Funds were not, well, they weren't, we weren't able to spend a lot. We were in debt to the previous owner, obviously. Jan Sievert, he didn't have a clue what he was doing, respectively. And then Jan got sacked. Hudson took over for a couple of games. And then eventually, when we played Wednesday at home, Cowley was appointed. A couple more games we lost, but eventually we won at Stoke away, consecutively followed by Hull at home. And we started picking points up on the board under the Cowley brothers, of course. Now, when the Cowleys come in, you could see a bit of a bit like when you give a car a bit of a jump. It just sort of a bit of injection, bit of life was breathed into the squad. Different formation, different style of play. We looked at a decent side, and players gelled together pretty well against the lower in the league sides. We still had his losses against the up top teams, and that's normal for a club of well, where we finished. That was pretty normal. And yeah, we just went through the motions, just sort of coasting in and out of relegation up until December, until that December-January sort of part of the season. Midway through, we looked a lot of a better team, and then the transfer window comes around. Obviously, Cowley, he knows what he wants. I believe a couple of months before that, Simpson had come in with his first game coming against Millwall, I believe. And yeah, in the January transfer window, obviously we saw the return of Jonas Lössl, a brilliant keeper who played a huge part in keeping us up. Richard Stearman, who at first looked to be a great prospect, not prospect, that's the wrong word, a great addition to the squad, yeah, but sometimes he's a bit hit and miss. So is Christopher Schindler, to be totally honest. Harry Toffolo, one of our best players now, in my opinion, one of our hardest working players. And hopefully he stays and doesn't follow the Cowley brothers out of the club, of course, after they've left. Emile Smith-Rowe, Chris Willock also joined into the squad. And they really both hit the ground running, in my opinion. With they just really fit into that squad, and they were just what we were looking for in order to retain our place in the EFL Championship for another season. Couple of months go on. We have these good games, these bad games. The midweek win against Charlton for me was pinpoint at the end. Games like that, doing the double over Charlton, it really did cement us. We could have done with beating Stoke at home because that knocked his confidence, but at the end we got the job done. Now, Hull away, again, another great one. Fulham away, we probably could have got something, but we didn't. And then obviously we come back to present day where we've just beaten West Brom and stayed up. I know there's a massive jump in between that because I'm trying not to drag on about stuff that's not really important. Now, obviously, what the Cowleys have done for the club will always be remembered, and he's nothing short of a miracle. Because if you look at the confidence, the style of play that we were playing with at the beginning of the season, and you compare it to that game against Charlton, Bristol, and to the most recent one against West Brom, just an instant difference. And Wagner left the club. Obviously, I think it was January, February. Seaver he lost the dressing room, and Cowley had to piece by piece. Well, the Cowleys had to pick that up piece by piece in order to get somewhere with the club. Like I say, funds were low, so it wasn't going to be easy. And then obviously they've been sacked, and there's no right time to sack a manager. Managers that have kept you up. I think you've just got to do it, and I appreciate the hard work and the graft that they've put into the club. But when you hear what's gone on behind the scenes, and when you hear the different perspectives, you question that it's not such a bad idea for the future of the club and how they want to operate. Maybe it's not the worst idea. Obviously, we're going to be gutted, but in the long term, maybe it turns out to be a good decision. We may a couple of months may pass by into the new season, and Carlos may not be as good as we thought he would be. We may not hit the ground running. We may capitulate as soon as we concede our first goal at home. These things are unforeseen circumstances. We can't look at a season and sort of look at the negatives. We have to stay positive. And sacking Cowley was a negative sort of impact on the club. We have to be positive now with Carlos. But like I said, I'm not going to go on about that too much because I'm supposed to be focusing on last season that's just finished. And I think when you put our season into perspective, you'll think, it was an awful season, but the recovery was a miracle. The recovery was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, Town left it to the last minute, and we did things the hard way against West Brom. We could have done it so much earlier, but at the end of the day, we got the job done, and we've retained our place in the Championship. Now, if you look at the teams around us, I didn't think Charlton would have gone down. I thought Luton would have gone down. And then towards the end, I sort of said, no, they're not going down, and they stayed up. But I suppose when you compare to other clubs and you compare it to the table, what we did was bog standard, bang average. Oh well, they stayed up, whatever. But when you look in how many points the Cowleys got whilst they were at the club in the time that they had, with the squad that they had, with the the little knowledge of the squad, and they weren't the most versatile managers in terms of playing different systems. They had one system, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. So what they did in such short period of time is obviously a brilliant job, and you have to appreciate that and be grateful to the Cowleys for doing so. Now that's talking about the season as a whole, but like I mentioned earlier, it all started from the Prem season. Poor investments. It really did leave us in a bit of a rut. The money from Philip Billing, we haven't reinvested that. But like I say, we're in debt, so we can't do that. We're in debt to the previous owner. And Benza and Diakabe were awful signings. The attitude has both gone. Terence Kongolo, I don't know what you can say about that, because first Prem season he was phenomenal and he was one of the reasons we stayed up. Second Prem season, again, brilliant, but Zanka and Hadji and I let the defence down. And at the end of the day, Kongolo doesn't want to play in the Championship. Maybe he doesn't want to play left back. I've heard some rumours that he was happy playing centre back, and Cowley said no, and opted to play Elphick and Chinler. Elphick was not good enough by any means, so I would have rather had Kongolo there. But it is what it is now. I'd be willing to give Kongolo a second chance just because of his graft in the second and first Prem seasons. But Benza and Diakabe are deadwood and they have to go for me. But obviously, like I say, this dries up funds when you spend money on players from abroad that are not used to the English style of football, and it really did hit home the mistake we'd made this season, in my opinion. And I think that if it wasn't for key players such as Grant, Bakuna, O'Brien, Lursel, you know, Mounier, if I said Mounier, I don't know, Smith Rowe, you know, we wouldn't be in this league and we would have gone down. And that's not great. That's horrible. That's a Sunderland, you know, to go down 2 years consecutively. That's not good at all. Now, obviously, when I'm talking about it, it seems all negative and doom and gloom. But to be totally honest, I'm relieved. Because if we'd have gone down again, then all the good players go and we're in even worse of a rut, and the parachute payments stop, of course. So at the end of the day, you have to look at the positives that are there, and we've stayed up. We've retained some great players, although some may go in the summer window. We have to be positive, and we have to, you know, sort of understand that we've done a good job in we've got a good reward out of a very bad hand that the Cowleys got dealt. And at the end of the day, you can't really you can't be negative and you can't not be happy with that. Now, obviously, it's not just the Cowleys that we've got to be grateful towards. We've got to be grateful towards Ida, I think it is, Hudson, all the backroom staff that have left recently, along with the managers. I think that's who we owe a thanks to as well, because they've been there for a while now, Hudson and Ida. I think it's Ida, it might be Iga, but I'm pretty sure it's Ida. And yeah, they've done a brilliant job with us, obviously, promotion to the Championship and retaining our status in the Prem. At the end of the day, this, when you look at it on paper, like I keep saying, is an awful season, but you know, you've got to appreciate and respect the journey that we've come on as a club over the past season and what the Cowleys have done for us in keeping us in this league. And you know, that's easier said than done. Hull have plummeted. Hull poor ownership. Wigan point deduction poor ownership. Charlton poor ownership. So we've got loads to be grateful for as a club, and I think being negative is something that we need to stop doing. Hypocritical from me, I know. The only thing I was negative about was the performances, but everything else in the club I am immensely proud of at the moment. Whether the staff behind the scenes have made the right call, sacking the Cowleys, I'm yet to comment on that, because, you know, we've not seen Carlos implement his style, ambition and everything else, etc. into the club. So I'm not going to comment on the backroom staff, but the staff that you know, that looked at the football side of things, we owe them a great amount of thanks, you know, especially to the Cowleys and Hudson and Ida, of course, because they kept us here. And if we weren't here, we could have gone down to League Two with the confidence that we had. But we haven't, and we've stayed here, and it's great. And next year, we go again. And just looking at it, the Championship doesn't look threatening next year. Like, the teams that have come down, as of recording this, Bournemouth and Watford, they don't look too scary. Like, you know, as soon as you eliminate their key players, who will, you know, 100% be gone in the summer window, the likes of De La Feu, Pereira, I reckon Deeney will go, Ben Foster without a doubt, you know, etc., etc. They'll all be gone. We could push for just outside playoffs, maybe even the playoffs. The Championship is anyone's league. It's what you make it. It really is, this league. That's what's so brilliant about it. Yeah, I think you've just gotta spend your money wisely, get a good style of play, and you'll be laughing in the Championship. Hopefully Carlos can get us doing that, but like I say, this would not be possible without the Cowleys and the rest of the performance and football team. So they've done a brilliant job, and I think it goes without saying that we've had a good season with a really bad hand. So I think it's important to understand that. Now, I actually thought I'd waffle on for a bit more, but yeah, I think I've said all that I need to say. If you do enjoy this video, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I also noticed that a lot of people who watch my videos aren't always subscribed, so if you could please subscribe. We've just hit 2k, why not? Let's go for 2.1, 2.2, all the way up to 3. Let's keep going. I'm immensely grateful for the great audience I've got, and I'm really happy for more people to join it, of course. So Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, do all the kind of stuff that you always do if you haven't already. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.